I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. You know what time it is? Time for Monday Morning with Mo. Happy Monday morning to you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning. If you haven't joined us before, this is Monday Morning with Mo, which is a little show we do here on Facebook and YouTube where you guys can ask legal questions and get some free legal advice. So we're here every Monday morning at 8 a.m. So hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. It's some beautiful weather out there. We took the family over to Lou Gardens yesterday. Really nice out. I'd actually never been to Lou Gardens before, or at least not walked around the gardens. I've been to the buildings, but never been out back there. And they have like a little dinosaur exhibit going on. Good for the kids. So yeah, enjoying that outdoor weather there. Let's see what else we got going on around here. If you guys don't know, we have some free merchandise on shop.justcallmo.com. If you guys want one of our free face masks, I don't think I have any around here, but it's got the little the little logo on it. It's black. Really nice face mask. They're actually really good quality. I wear it every day. It's pretty nice. So if you want one of those, absolutely free shipping. Just go to shop.justcallmo.com and we'll send you one right over. Also, if you guys don't know, we're now on the Soul Brother Kevin show over in Tampa on 1025 The Bone. So we're also going to be live streaming that every Friday at 7 o'clock. So if you want to tune in, we do a little segment called You Be the Lawyer, where basically I give a legal scenario. Usually it's something that we've handled in the office, and then there's usually 3 or 4 kind of panelists on the show, and they try to guess as far as what happens. So that's what we're up to. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and let's get to the legal questions. And if you guys have legal questions, email us at ask@dewitlaw.com, or leave us a voicemail 407-536-6737, and we will get back to you or answer them on the show. So first up this morning we have Kathleen. Kathleen asks, what is the process of adding a name to a deed of a house? Well, that's a pretty simple process. So, typically what you're going to have to do is execute a deed. So and we see this a lot in divorces, or spouses adding the other party to the deed. So basically what's going to happen is you have your existing deed. And then from there, you're going to convey the property from party A, from Mo. Let's say I'm conveying it to Mo and Matt. So the deed will read, Mo as the sole owner is conveying the property to Mo and Matt. And then the key is, how do they hold the property? Are they tenants in common, tenants in the entirety, joint tenants with the right of survivorship? Depending on what the relationship is going to depend on how you do that. So a lawyer can typically draft up a deed. It's usually not too expensive. There's also, of course, those LegalZoom services and things like that. Just make sure you do a little bit of research to make sure you're doing the right kind of deed and you're having the deed held, properly, whether it's tenants by the entirety or joint tenants with the right of survivorship, or like I said, tenants in common. So pretty straightforward process. Now, the one thing that does, it's not tricky, but one thing to keep in mind is, when you do that, and then of course you want to record it with the property appraiser's office or the county that you live in. And when you do that, you will have to pay the documentary stamp taxes based on the assessed value of the property. So something to keep in mind, because sometimes those taxes can be a little expensive. If it's done pursuant to a divorce decree, you don't have to pay the taxes. You just pay the $10 filing fee. But if it's not being done pursuant to a divorce decree, then you are going to have to pay the taxes on that conveyance. So just something to keep in mind there, but great question. We appreciate it, Kathleen. Let's see here. Next up, we have Lindsay. So Lindsay says, I am divorced and the custodial parent to 2 teenagers. The kids only spend about 8 weeks with their dad in the summer out of state. Our divorce decree states that I can claim 1 child as a dependent on my taxes only every other year, while he claims 1 child 1 year and both the other years. I made this mistake when filling out our paperwork. Gotcha. I did not receive any stimulus money for the kids at all in 2020. I do not know whether their dad received it, as we are not on those kind of terms where he would tell me. I always file my taxes as the custodial parent and get the earned income tax credit, but for the 2019 tax year, I did not claim either kid as my dependent. Is there a way for me to receive any of that while doing my taxes this year? How do I show that although I did not get to claim them this year, I am the custodial parent and should have the rightful or should be the rightful recipient? Thanks in advance. All right, so if you're a divorced parent and you filed your taxes as the head of household, meaning, sorry, that got a little something in my eye there, meaning you claimed your children as dependents on your tax returns, you should receive the stimulus check. So here the problem is you previously, what was it, in 2019 did not claim your kids as dependents, which is the tax return that they're relying upon in 2020 typically for these credits. So that's how they're figuring out. So that with between you and the IRS, you really have no issue because that's what they're following. Between you and the father, most courts have kind of said, okay, yeah, we get that you claimed them, you claimed the kids this year or last year or whatever it may be, but the the stimulus funds should still kind of be split pursuant to percentage of how often you have the kids. So, in this case, I think you said you have the kids basically 100% of the time, all but 8 weeks. So, a good portion of the time, let's say it's 80%, just for simple math. So 80%, then you should receive 80% of the stimulus funds. Now, I'm guessing that he probably did receive the stimulus funds, and he just didn't tell you about it. So you may need to ask him that question bluntly. Maybe put in an email to him and see if he'll respond to you. Otherwise, you'd really have to take him to court, which, frankly, it may not be financially worthwhile to do so. But that is always your other option. So that's kind of the way it goes on this one. Unfortunately, it's not a great situation. Obviously, no one expected a pandemic and multiple rounds of stimulus funding, but that's where we are, and that's how the IRS does it. And so basically, you just have to go back and make a claim against him, against the father, or your former husband, and say, hey, I have the kids, whatever percentage it is, and therefore I'm owed that percentage of the stimulus funds. So best of luck, Lindsay. If I can be any help with that, give us a call. You can always reach us at the office, 1-800-DeWitt-Law, 1-800-339-4885. And we're always happy to talk to you. And if you guys out there in Facebook, internet land, whatever you want to call this place, have any questions, email us, askask@dewittlaw.com, or just shoot us a voicemail, 407-536-6737. Speaking of voicemails, let's try to go to this one here.
Yes, I'm 80 years old, and I'm afraid of if I end up in a nursing home that my money will end up being used up instead of going to my children. Is there anything I can do about this? Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. I think that may be our oldest caller to date. So essentially what you want to do is consult with an elder law attorney. So there are attorneys out there who essentially that is all they do. And I would need to know a lot more about your situation in order to be able to give you any worthwhile advice as far as, preserving, your monies if you were to be placed in a nursing home. But sometimes there are certain trusts that they can set up so that you qualify for certain programs that kind of protect your assets. But again, you're going to want to sit down and have a consultation with an elder law attorney. They can go through your assets, go through what you may qualify for, what you may not qualify for. If you're a veteran or you are married to a veteran, you may have different benefits. So you want to sit down with them, sooner rather than later, get that set up and get it set up properly. So unfortunately, I don't have a real detailed explanation because I would need a lot more information, but that's the next step you want to take there. So best of luck to you. Again, thank you for the voicemail. And let's see here. I think we got one more this morning. So we got Donald. Donald says, hey, Mo, my mother just passed away. How do I find out if she had a life insurance policy? Also, how can I get her jewelry from her husband that she had? How do I sue him? They had a house together with savings bonds. He won't give me her things. Nothing. She just passed last week. Thanks. So, Donald, my condolences. Sorry to hear about your mom. Let me get a little water there. I apologize. But again, my condolences. Um, the first thing to find out is whether she had an estate planning package of any kind. If she had a will, where it might be, the prior attorney who handled it. If she didn't have any sort of will or anything, then it's all going to be controlled by Florida statute. And so, and it, that's what determines how her property passes from one party to another. Typically, her husband would be entitled to a portion of her property, and then her children would be entitled to a portion of her property. I'm assuming her husband is not your father, just by the way the email's written. That's kind of the assumption I'm making there. So, really, we got to find out if she has a will or not. That's what's going to kind of determine all of this. Otherwise, there could certainly be a dispute here over what property you receive, what property he receives, and then it would end up in a probate litigation case. So those can get a little messy. They're very much like a family law case, except obviously we're dealing with an estate. Um, but you probably want to go ahead and start that sooner rather than later because there is going to be a probate process that starts. There are certain deadlines, so you want to talk to a probate attorney as soon as possible, and they can kind of help assist you with that. So um, I wouldn't jump into suing him just yet, suing your mother's husband just yet. I would wait to see if there's a will, and hopefully the will dictates how the property is passed down because that certainly makes things easier. But this is a great example if you don't have a will, why you should have one. So, I recommend everybody, if you have kids or you own a home, you should have a will. You should have an estate planning package. If you need me to I don't do that personally, that kind of work, but if you need me to set you up with someone who does, give me a call. I'm happy to put you in touch with some people who do some good work on that. So, as always, thank you for joining us. If you guys have any legal questions out there at all, uh, you know, shoot us an email, ask@dewitlaw.com, or you can leave us a voicemail, 407-536-6737. Always love the voicemails. Or just reach out to me on Facebook. You know where to find me. So until then, I guess I will see you guys next week for another episode of Monday Morning with Mo. Have a great week, and see you soon. Take care.